What's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to SMITE Meta Casual News. In today's episode, one topic and one topic only, the remodel of Bakasura. Let's get right into it. Once again, my name is FG3000, you're you, and here comes the news. In today's SMITE news, Bakasura is the next god to be remodeled. On the screen right now, you're taking a look at some of his concept art, and I know what you're thinking. This isn't Bakasura. Bakasura is supposed to be small and low to the ground and sneaky and conniving. Take a look at the animations on the screen now. So this is your brand new Bakasura, but let's get a few points out of the way before we continue. Fester Bunny Bakasura and Death Machine Bakasura will remain unchanged for now. They were very, very specific to say that those skins will remain the same this patch. No guarantee that they will stay the same in later patches, and that's something that we're going to touch on in this episode a little bit later. So, Fester Bunny Baka, Death Machine Bakasura, very safe. If you like the old style of Bakasura, they're still there. So let's kind of grade this remodel because this is not a re-kit. All of his abilities are exactly the same. So the only thing that we're really judging here is the model itself, the flow of the character, and the ability. So let's talk about what made the old Bakasura the Bakasura. So in my opinion, the things that made Bakasura stand out from other gods was his stature. He was very small, low to the ground, which made him feel faster, especially when you amplify that with Eat Minion and a Fatalis. You felt like a maniac. You felt like a psychopath once you had a bunch of attack speed, a bunch of movement speed. That is what Bakasura to me was. Of course, his red hood along with his butcher blades was very, very iconic Bakasura. And let's not forget the biggest thing about Bakasura, our current model Bakasura, was his ultimate, right? Chomping away at a team fight. His regurgitate, his ultimate, was probably one of the most iconic abilities that he had. He was all about eating you, throwing up on you, and then eating you again. That was the old Bakasura. So let's talk about this new Bakasura and see if he retains any of that feeling of the old one. So red hood, check. Butcher blades, they are different this time around, but we're gonna go ahead and give Hi-Rez a pass on that. That gets a check. Now, the overall feeling of Bakasura, you know, that low to the ground, fast style of gameplay is really hard to rate on just a video. I'm gonna have to check it out this weekend on the PTS, but what I can see from the video, it seems very, very close. He looks a little goofy when he runs, but it's not that bad. I think it does kind of retain that, you know, iconic Bakasura low to the ground, very fast mentality style of gameplay. And like I said, this is, if you've never played Bakasura, this might seem foreign to you, but Bakasura just feels like a totally different assassin than Mercury and Thor and all those nemesis. He just feels different. You have to play him to really understand. So as far as his overall model is concerned, polygon for polygon, this model is way better than the old Bakasura. That can't even be argued. As far as I can tell from the video, the feeling is still there, so he's still going to feel like Bakasura, but I'm gonna have to judge him again once it's out on the PTS. Now, let's talk about his abilities really quick. So, iconic Bakasura, his leap was very twirly. If you've never played Bakasura, he kind of jumps and kind of twirls around. That's not the same anymore. It was a little bit more fun on the old Bakasura. The new Bakasura is a lot more serious. It does look better. Let's just be honest. His new leap does look cooler, more, you know, more fierce. But you know, we're gonna lose out on that little spinny leap that he used to have. As far as Eat Minions, compared to both models, I have to say Eat Minion doesn't really matter too much. Old Bakasura eats with his mouth. This new Bakasura eats with his chest. Not that big of a deal. Now, his Butcher Blades, I'm a little torn on. Once again, this is something that I'm going to have to look at on the PTS. His Butcher Blades now are more like shadow strikes. And the shadow strikes don't look like they have the impact that the current Butcher Blades have. Now, when you activate Butcher Blades on the live servers with the current model Bakasura, that true damage feels very, very impactful. Like when you're hitting gods with Butcher Blades, it feels like "Urgh!" In this video, it doesn't look like the shadow strike looking Butcher Blades. They just don't look as powerful as the old Bakasura. Of course, this has to do with sound effects. A lot of the sound effects weren't working on today's Dev Talk, so I can't really judge how it's going to sound or how it's going to feel, but right now I feel like it's not going to be as impactful as the current Butcher Blades. And then of course, last but not least, his ultimate. Bakasura's old ultimate, in my opinion, was very, you know what? take a pause right here. Let's take a look at old Bakasura's ultimate right now. Have it on the screen for you right now. That's the old Bakasura ultimate. So the key thing I want to point out on both of these ultimates is this. Both ultimates have basically a spectral version of Bakasura biting you, right? So both of them are exactly the same in that respect. However, the old Bakasura, he's chomping down on you, versus the new Bakasura, the chomps are coming from left to right. Like the jaws open and close from left to right. And it just doesn't feel as impactful. I've used that word a couple of times in this video. It just doesn't seem as impactful. It doesn't look as cool in my opinion. Also with his ultimate, it's called Regurgitate. So you're running around, you're eating all these minions, you throw up on them, so you have this huge circle of bile. You have these baby Bakasuras running out and just chomping away at your enemies. Now you have this purple oozy type shadowy stuff, and then you have these purple blob minions. I don't really approve of that part at all. I don't know why they're purple blob minions. Maybe they took a look at new mini Bakasuras and they didn't look very cool, but so ultimate to ultimate, I have to give the edge to the old Bakasura in that respect. So to kind of sum up my overall thoughts of this brand new remodel, the model itself is fantastic. The feel looks like it's there. Most of the abilities are an upgrade, contrary to everything that I said in this video. Most of the abilities do look cooler than the old Bakasura. My only concern is the impact, if they're going to feel as powerful as the old Bakasura did when it came to Butcher Blades and his ultimate. And then last but not least, this brings up a very curious topic. So this Bakasura looks nothing like Fester Bunny Bakasura and nothing like Death Machine Bakasura. I am going to go on the record to say that those Death Machine and Fester Bunny Bakasuras will not stay in the game for very long the way that they are, because they are just too polarizingly different than the model that we have right now. Like, you take a look at the remodel of Zeus versus young Zeus. You know, they're very different. You know, young Zeus is very, very bulky, and like new Zeus is this slim, ripped figure. But they overall kind of have the same feel. Like they're very close. Even when you look at Cuckoo and Sacred Dragon, Ao Kwang, basically, you can kind of get away with the fact of saying, hey, this is this Cuckoo, but he's throwing confetti out right now. This model here with Bakasura, Death Machine Bakasura, looks nothing like the current model Bakasura. Nothing. And I don't believe that Hi-Res is going to keep him in the game that way. So I wouldn't get too comfortable with Death Machine Bakasura and Fester Bunny Bakasura. I have a big feeling that they will get the Mountain Man Odin treatment, and they will be remodeled to be more in line with the standard model, because it is just way too polarizing, way too different. And like I said, I give you the example of Guan Yu is another good example. Guan Fu is he still has the same flow as the old Guan Yu, but you take a look at Odin and Mountain Man Odin, he just didn't look right with his new abilities. He just didn't look anything like the new Odin. So I think we're gonna see the same thing with Bakasura, but that's just my opinion. Once again, I love to hear yours, so leave them in the comment section below. That's gonna do it for today's episode of SMITE Meta Casual News. We will be back probably over the weekend or early next week, depending on what this patch has in store for us. The patch notes will be out tomorrow on Friday. So if there's anything else as awesome as the Bakasura remodel in there, I will see you guys really soon. And that's gonna do it. Once again, my name is FG3000. You have been you. And that, my friends, was the news. We'll catch you later.